This is a follow-up from an earlier video. I wanted to show the state of the composting bins now that they've been active for a good year. It's the same vantage point, and I'm taking this just to emphasize that I keep the compost pretty far from my house because I just don't want to attract any vermin. I just don't want that coming up next to my house. And here's what I'm putting in this morning. Now that's primarily pineapple rind on the top, and I've cut it up into smaller pieces because they just work well when things are chopped up for them, instead of a giant rind, which would take them quite a while. They tend to work well on smaller pieces. And then there's lettuce and other things down there. Now what I've learned not to put in is don't put in peppers, don't put in citrus. They just prefer not to eat that. Don't put in onions, but most everything else is just fine. Currently I have 2 active bins, and that's these 2, and then 1 finishing bin. And boy, that finishing bin can take a good long while. I would like to increase the number of bins that I have, just simply because I feed the worms so often. I wanted to follow up that I took care of the issue of having perforations in the top. And of course I have them in the side for ventilation, but in the top water was getting in, and I solved that by just putting a second lid that wasn't perforated. And that very cheap, a couple dollars to do that. All right, here's where I'm adding today. Now all that on top is shredded cardboard, and I'll just do a later video on how I go about doing that. It's pretty simple. It's good looking. You can see all the worm castings just really looking great at the top. Now when we dig in there, you'll see that they're very busy. In a previous video, I used a handheld spade, and I'm using this kind of small pitchfork now, simply because I feel like the tines will injure the worms, will injure fewer worms than a spade. Don't know if that's true or not, but also I can get a larger volume with something like this picked up. I'm also no longer that particular about what part of the bin I pick stuff up with. So I'll just gently, oh, it sounds like muck down there. You can see there are plenty of worms active all over the place, eating this decomposing food. Really impressive. Oh, this is great. I want you to see this. These are, if I'm not mistaken, these are a certain stage of black fly larvae, and they are pretty awesome to have in there. Boy, they do good work. Talk about that in a later video too. Anyway, let me add the food. And I still bury the food. That's still something that you want to do. Reduces stink. Also, having plenty of cardboard or leaf covering is a great idea to reduce the odor. Odor to humans and odor to animals which may want to come investigate. As you can see, is really quite active with worms. They're doing an amazing job these days. I'm going to pause that here.